Okay, YouTubers, if you found this clip, then you're probably suffering from this common issue, and hopefully we're going to take care of it for you. And this is something that's fairly common with Toyotas, and it's the intermittent function for your wipers stop working. A likely culprit is you leave your wipers mid-window in a snowstorm, you get back in the morning and try to warm up your car while the wipers are trying to push through, and you burn out your switch. What's actually happening is a relay is burning out. And if you move your switch to the first detent, the intermittent function, they're not going to work. It will still work for the high, it'll still work for the low, but it won't work for the timer. And the more annoying is that when you try to turn them off, they'll just stop mid-window. They don't go back to their home position, or they don't park. The good news is that most likely it's a relatively easy fix, and it just involves pulling this switch out. Now the shroud that covers the steering column, it's held in by just 3 screws, and it's easy to take apart. The first 2 screws are on the front. You just need to turn your wheel to give you access to them. Take them right out. The last switch is on the bottom. Once those 3 are out, you can unsnap, and it'll come off in 2 pieces. Once you take those 2 pieces off, it's so simple to get this switch out. There's just 2 screws, one at the top, one at the bottom. You unscrew those, the entire thing comes out in one assembly. So when the screws are out, there's a little Molex plug. You unclip that. All right. Make sure that that shroud, your steering column shroud, is out of the way, and you should be able to slide that entire assembly right out. And that's it. That's your entire switch, just like that. So if you take your car to the dealership, they're going to want to sell you this entire switch, which is about $120 for the part. They'll probably charge you another $120 to install it. But really, this entire fix is done in less than $10 worth of parts, and it's a relay. If you look here, there's 5 little pins. That's what holds on the relay that controls your intermittent function. It tells your wipers where to come back to. So we'll get to the relay itself in a sec, but here's what's basically going to happen. You're going to desolder this relay off of the board, clean it up, clean the board up I should say, and then put in a new one. To get this done, all you need is a good soldering iron. I think this is maybe a 25-watt one, it's fine. Desoldering either a bulb or syringe, and what this thing does is it kind of like vacuums out the hot solder, and then you get your relay. This is the relay I'm going to use right here. Now, it's not the OEM relay that it calls for, but it still will work, and we'll go over that in a sec. And then you need some solder, some good solder. So I tried to record this so you could see what it looks like, and it's not the greatest, but basically what happens is on the bulb or on the syringe, you will charge it. It'll be like having like a little bit of suction there ready to go. You use your soldering iron, you get that solder nice and hot, right, where it starts to melt. You can see that it's molten. You put this plunger on it, you click it, and it starts to suck up anything that's wet. And you're going to do that repeatedly for all those 5 contacts. Remember not to, whenever you're soldering, you don't want to burn that board, so take breaks in between. It should look like this, nice and clean, when all of those contacts have been desoldered and that relay has been pulled out. Now this is what the relay looks like. It's a CQ1. It's made by Panasonic. Okay, they're a pain in the ass to get. I didn't want to wait a week to get it, so I did something else. Important to know is that, of course, it's 12 volt. It's rated for 20 amps, even though your wipers are not going to pull that much. And then the SPDT, that means single pole double throw. So I picked up this from the local Radio Shack, and it's going to work. It's 12 volts. It's a slightly larger package, but we'll make it work. It's as long as I can bend those pins a little bit to fit through that board, it'll work. And then what's most important is that, and you'll see this on the back of the packaging, is that the pinout is in a similar position, and also the normally closed contact is on the same side as the OEM. So putting it back on the board, since I had to bend those pins, they don't fit all the way through. I wound up using the old relay actually to kind of sandwich the new one in, really put pressure up against the board so that those pins could come through Even if they come through a tiny bit, they're in enough. And when your new solder goes on, it'll get the board, it'll hit those pins, and as long as you do that right, it'll be fine. Biggest mistake with PC boards: cold solder. So make sure you warm up the board and that pin equally so that solder stays on. And that was the last one. I just kind of went right to the end. But you see, I'll pull the old relay out, and that new one's going to stay in nice and tight. So here it is going back in the car. 1, 2, 3. It's so easy to put in. You'll see there's like a little guide, a little detent there. So that'll slide right in. It'll snap in. The plug goes right back in, nice and easy. 2 screws to secure it back into the column, and then we shall see if it works. All right, so here's a test. It's in the off position. There you go. There's an intermittent function. It went once. It parked. There it goes again. Very good. The normal functions work, low and high. And the most important, when you turn it off, it goes back to that home position. All done.